In case you missed it, the IAASB issued a pronouncement called Non-Authoritative Support Material Related to Technology in April 2020. This one deals with audit documentation when using automated tools and techniques. They refer to automated tools and techniques, or ATT, throughout the publication, and that's what we know as data analytics. The IAASB believes that it's a bit too narrow a term because data analytics doesn't necessarily include things like artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, things like that. So they talk about ATT, automated tools and techniques. But the principles are basically the same as before. We've got ISA 230, which deals with audit documentation. And ISA 230, as you know, does not differentiate between automated tools or electronic tools and manual tools. But the standard itself is very generic, very principle-based. So it will be applicable regardless of the nature of the tool or technique. There's no place that it prohibits the use of electronic tools or where it's really special. There are a couple of areas that are special where we have to just think about it. For example, ISA 230 requires you to prepare audit documentation that's sufficient to understand, for someone, an experienced auditor, to understand the results of the audit procedures. Now, to understand the results of electronic audit procedures actually is easier than understanding the results of other procedures because it's very easy for us to visualize it. You can put it out in a graph, or you can have a table with exceptions highlighted, or use different colors, or whatever way that you can present it. So make sure that the results of the audit procedures that you performed are recorded in a way that they can be understood. But that's generally quite easy in the case of electronic tools and techniques. The next part that we have to look at is you also have to understand not only the results, but also any significant matters arising during the audit. Now here it may be slightly different, because what is a significant matter? If you had to send a junior auditor to go and count inventory, it's much easier to tell them how to count inventory than it would be to tell someone who has not counted before, or a drone, or a computer program, or something like that. So we think of, let's take the inventory count example again. If you had to do a virtual count by sending in a person with a cell phone who records all the inventory, then you're going to have to explain to them how to count, what is inventory and what is not inventory, the completeness, the fact of obsolescence, that even if they count something but it's broken completely, then they need to make a note of it. So there are some things that you will have to explain if you do it electronically that you don't need to necessarily explain if it's a human being that does it. So there's a few things that we need to look at a bit differently than before. Also remember that when we document, let's say, the results coming from data analytics or from Arbutus or something like that, nobody has ever said that Arbutus will always produce the correct sample or the correct population or something like that. So you don't have to document that. As a firm, we haven't made a decision that we are going to approve certain aspects of a specific tool. So you have to document everything you did. If you extracted data from a client's records and Arbutus is used to summarize it, then you need to check that summary, get the total and compare it to the general ledger. Not that we can't check, that we can't trust Arbutus, but you are going to have to make sure that the parameters that were given in summarizing it is correct, that the person who summarized it for you did what you actually wanted them to do. They might not have understood the question. Maybe they didn't look at the full population, or maybe there were aspects of the population that you didn't take into account. So we have to document everything, all our considerations, as we go through the whole audit process.